Hello everyone. Anyone who is willing to go to Canada, you can stay with us throughout this video. Today on the show we have Yazara J. Pereira, the CEO Enlighten Consultancy Services and YNJ Immigration Consultancy Incorporation. Hi Yazara.
Hi Pabuda.
So Yazara, what credentials that you have earned from a regulated body?
Yes Pabuda. So to provide visa services to Canada, you have to either be a RCIC, that's Regulated Canadian Immigration Consultant, or a lawyer in Canada. So I am an RCIC, Regulated Canadian Immigration Consultant. My background, I studied in Sri Lanka. I went to University of Colombo Management Faculty and then did my MBA, and then I migrated to Canada, and there I studied to be an RCIC, and then I got my license.
So Enlighten is known for providing consultancy services. So what are the services that you provide to your clients?
Mainly Pabuda, the consultancy services we provide to Canada can be categorized into two sections: temporary residence visa or permanent residence visa. When you consider temporary residence visa, student visas, study permits actually, and open work permits for spouses, visit visas or dependent study permits for the children of the students, and LMIA work permits are the temporary resident visa categories we do handle. Apart from that, super visas for parents is another category. That's for PRs or citizens' parents. There's an opportunity the government has given to apply super visas for parents. Then when it comes to permanent residency visas, we are into express entry. That's a PR pathway for people who are inside Canada or outside Canada. Apart from that, family sponsored visa, example spousal sponsorships for people who are already PRs or Canadian citizens, or maybe they want to sponsor their parents as PRs. So apart from that, home support worker and home child care provider pilot programs, those are the categories we do handle. When it comes to child caregiver and home support worker, it's a work permit which has a PR path, but only thing we accept if somebody has an employer to provide a job offer.
Yeah, so with the current context, most of us are explore the best ways to migrate to Canada. So what are the possible ways we have?
Yes, Papuda. Mainly it's the study path or the PR path, and out of those two also what's commonly possible is the study path. As a consultancy firm, when somebody reaches us for consultation, we do evaluate the profile and recommend what path is available for that particular person, and if he or she is interested in having a consultation, we provide a Zoom consultation. Since I am residing in Canada, we do provide a Zoom consultation.
So yes, sir, as you mentioned about the student visa process, as the popular method, what sort of criteria should we meet?
That's a good question, Paboda. Main thing is picking the proper program. So what program you should study in Canada depends on your current educational background, the employment background, and the age. There are situations where we have been contacted by clients after visa refusals. The main reason I see is the incorrect program selection. There is an expected level of education at a certain age. At the same time, Canada does not restrict people applying for studies in Canada if you're qualified. Example, irrespective of their age, they could be granted a visa if the Canadian government believes that he or she is qualified to come to Canada and continue studies. IELTS. That's a major component when it comes to applying for study path. Basically, you need to meet a certain level of IELTS depending on the program you pick to continue there. But some people would say it's not essential, but you cannot compare the pandemic situation and now, and with responsibility I would say that you need IELTS to study in Canada. You can't omit that requirement, and English is an essential part when you're going to an English speaking country on the other hand, so it's good to have a good IELTS score. Apart from that, for family, of course, you don't need IELTS, but the main applicant always require IELTS in a student visa.
So Yasara, can't we apply after completing our MBA or maybe MA program?
Yes. So I have come across situations that certain people have advised clients not to disclose their MBA. That's totally wrong and unethical, especially if you consider the client's position when he or she applies for the PR. Disclosing the MBA definitely is required because you get more points, right? So, but if you don't disclose that qualification in your study permit and later on try to disclose, it would lead to misrepresentation. On the other hand, distorting information in a visa application could lead to misrepresentation. So you will be banned for 5 years for distorting information in your visa application. Therefore, I don't recommend anyone to distort their qualifications in a visa application. Instead, do a proper justification on what qualifications you have and why you are coming to carry on a study program in Canada.
So Yasara, when it comes to showing funds, it's a common thing that we are showing our funds to family members, getting help of them and from other ways. So how important is it?
Yes, Pavoda. So it's equally important to have funds, like showing funds, because the lifestyle you have to maintain there require funds. You have to keep a buffer, especially because there could be situations that takes a few months for you to find a job initially, and then you have to pay your second semester fees. So I don't think it's advisable to believe that you can earn and pay your second semester tuition fee, because that's a hard call. So it's important to have your own funds at least for the first year. Yes, definitely gradually you can work and earn, but with the living expenses, in my opinion, it's okay to be ready to pay the second year fee but not the first year fee. So if you show assistance from your family, make sure that you can get assistance after you go there too.
The second method that you have mentioned is about PR, right? Permanent residency. So can you tell us more about it?
Like I said earlier, Papoda, it depends on your profile, what credentials you have to apply for PR. So I recommend anyone who wants to apply for PR, please analyze your CRS score. Comprehensive ranking score system is the system that requires you to gain points for the express entry. So IRCC website, CIC website provides a score calculator, and you can key in your credentials and the calculator will give you your score. So without analyzing your own position, it's really dangerous to pay anyone with the purpose of getting the PR, because usually every other week. There would be a draw and the cutoffs are published. So information is available. It's just that you need to analyze your position and whether this cutoff is feasible for me to get it or not. That's what's required to know. And as a consultancy firm, yes, if you consult us, we do advise and give our opinion whether it's feasible to obtain the PR being outside of Canada, or whether it's possible for you to go to Canada and then gain the PR, because you get additional points for Canadian education as well as work experience. Apart from that, I've seen situations where people believe that when knowingly that you're not qualified under federal skilled worker category, believing that you could get a provincial nomination, that you apply for PR. But the chances are very low to get a PNP, like the PR through PNP, because usually you need a job offer to get a PNP, except for very few PNP systems. So in my opinion, rather than waiting, expecting a PNP when you're outside Canada, it's more practical to go even on study path and obtain your permanent residency. And I have enough and more examples of very good profiles who waited for years expecting to get a PNP and then finally ended up in Canada on study permit, but I'm quite sure that they'll gain their permanent residency.
So if you are interested, you can contact Enlighten Consultancy through note 77 3 note 98918, and you can follow them on Instagram, Facebook, and refer their website www.enlightensl.com. So Yasara, how feasible is to get a work permit in Canada?
Yes, Paboda. Direct answer, it's not easy to get a work permit in Canada, but you can get an open work permit as a spouse, and that could be a positive point in a PR application, and we guide how your spouse could contribute towards getting a permanent residency in Canada, even though he goes as an open work permit holder. Other system is like we discussed earlier, LMIA work permits. We do LMIA work permits, but not LMIA job offers. If someone has a genuine LMIA job offer, yes, we could do the work permit for them. And I have seen issues in job offers, especially in the recent past. Canadian government announced that if somebody has a visit visa in Canada and has a job offer, that they could get a work permit, but this is also a LMIA work permit. So with the expectation of getting a work permit in Canada, if someone is trying to get a visit visa, you have to keep it in mind that it's a LMIA job offer which you have to get in Canada, and how practical it is to get one is the question. So we know that so many people are very much eager to move to Canada these days, but whether you are going on the right path, it's important, equally important to know, because I have seen instances that there are fake job offers issued by various parties. Then of course, like editing is a simple matter now, so even the signature could be without a name, just a company name, right? So not Canada, like say, that's kind of common sense that there are certain things that you need to analyze in a job offer, and remember that if somebody is asking money to offer you a job, you have to be further cautious. because that's not something legal. So even if you get a genuine job offer, and if you want to get your family to Canada, if it's not a skilled worker category, you cannot sponsor your family while you're under work permit to Canada. So knowingly it's okay to accept job offers, but do a thorough check on whom you're trusting, right? And there are no situations that somebody could ask for your passport offering you a job. So once someone contacted me saying that they don't ask for money, but once you go there, they'll do a deduction from your salary, keeping your passport. So these are not normal situations in Canada for sure, and it's a sign of danger. So be careful whom you're trusting when you're accepting a job offer in Canada.
So Yasara, there are so many other countries all around the world. Why should someone pick Canada instead of all the other countries?
Canada, if you consider the study part, comparatively the tuition fee is lower when compared to Australia or US, maybe UK too. But on the other hand, the study permit to Canada is not something which someone could get easily. So there's a trend nowadays that people apply for European countries expecting to move out. But is it long term? That's what you have to consider, because Canada is an English speaking country, and if you come to Canada as a student, there's a clear path for permanent residency. Once you complete your studies, you get a work permit, open work permit. It could be for 1 year or 3 years, during which once you complete 1 year of experience in Canada, you can apply for the PR. But on the other hand, additionally, there are job opportunities available definitely, and healthcare benefits. After meeting certain requirements, Canada offers healthcare benefits which is similar to any PR or citizen in Canada basically. Therefore the quality of standard of living is very high, I would say. Like I said earlier, the tuition fee, yes, you're paying for yourself, but your kids under 18 years could study free. And if a child is born in Canada, according to the prevailing law, he or she is considered a Canadian citizen. So it's actually a very human country. Situations that you got unlimited work hours if you are an essential worker, even as a student, and also they gave basically online studying facility. And we know that certain countries implemented policies where the online studies were not permitted, and as a result the studies were disrupted for over 1 year's time. So here I believe apart from 1 or 2 months, studies were not disrupted by the pandemic situation. And additionally, they offered longer durations for post-study work permits. After you complete the work permit you get, even though the expiry is for 1 year for certain people, they gave additional 18 months, knowingly that there could be situations that somebody lost their job, so that they need time to get gain their work experience to obtain their PR. So likewise, it's a very vulnerable situation that everyone faced during pandemic, and even now there's an economic crisis. So currently also they have provided 40 hours work rights for students instead of 20 hours. allowing them to basically have less stress, financial stress. So yeah, that's why I believe that you should select Canada over other countries when you're especially coming as a student, because there is a future. Even if you come as a student, there is a clear future.
So Yazara, last but not least, why we should pick Enlighten?
Yes, Pavuda. So our motto is trusted partner in your journey to Canada. So trust is our main factor. We always try to give a good service to the client and to be transparent. Transparency is very important in a visa application. Without proper guidance, it's very difficult to get a positive visa outcome. So my license, being an RCIC, I'm also regulated by a body which is CICC. So when you're working with an RCIC, if there's an issue and if you believe that something unfair has happened to you through their service, there's a procedure to make a complaint or get attention of a higher authority to address the issue. So that's where you're benefited. If you're not applying on your own, which is also possible, it's advisable to apply through an RCIC or a Canadian lawyer, because you're in safe hands. And as a firm, if I consider the success rate, we always try to maintain it, and there are reasons for that success rate, because we pick basically profiles whom we are confident of assisting to get a positive visa outcome. No one cannot guarantee 100% success rate, but we always do our best. I have my physical office in Sri Lanka, though I am residing in Canada. So Enlighten Consultancy Services is basically led by Janaka Pereira and the team. You could refer testimonials of the clients in our Facebook and Instagram pages or our website. I think service is the main factor of our success. We are in touch with the client always, from the point of signing the retainer until a visa submission, because we know that without proper guidance you cannot obtain a positive visa outcome. So there are no surprises like signing the retainer and going missing. So that's why we believe that keeping in touch with the client is very important. And the other thing, Paboda, our services are extended, right? Like if someone wishes to do their basically visa extensions, or to apply visit visa for their parents, or super visa, or maybe their own PR application, spousal sponsorships, or their citizenship application. As an RCIC, we are legally authorized to provide those services to client. So the service we provide is continuous. If someone wants to, they could approach us for their all visa needs. Apart from that, we time to time we get the services of specialized people in certain areas for other services, such as basically grooming yourself for an interview, CV preparation, how to find employment opportunities and so forth, or maybe to give tips on how to get a better score in your CELPIP or IELTS examination and so forth. Therefore, basically what I'm trying to say is our service is not limited to getting you a study permit, visa, or it doesn't end there. It's a continuous service.
So great. Thank you, Asara. So if you are interested in any Canadian visa requirements, so you can contact Enlighten Consultancy. Again, I'll remind you the contact details. It's note 773 note 98918, and you can follow them on Instagram and on Facebook, and you can refer their website for more information, www.enlightensl.com. So subscribe our YouTube channel and stay tuned for our next video.